backing. Everybody step back, please. We're going to dump these specimens into the container, and then, Lauren, you can go up on the bank a little bit and see what we got.
Careful, don't fall backwards.
Great. All right. Here, I want you to sit down. Good spot. Show that. Show that.
Two of them. Maybe we could divide them in half. You want to take half for that and then
okay.
take the other half?
Okay.
Wait, just that group is over there. You guys want to do a little chemistry with me? Yeah. Bye bye. Hey, any of you guys that want to help me do the first?
Oh, there's magic. That is a...
Oh my God. Some of you guys can stay over here.
This specimen in. This is a dragonfly larva.
Dragonfly larva.
I think it is.
Julie, come over here, please, with you, Jennifer. Okay, the rest of us will stay over here, right?
Julie, let's go over here.
Surface, under surface and rock. So it might not be too happy in the bottom.
Okay, put it in water.
Thank you. Found him like that.
It's a big squid. It's like a big squid. And it's in the shell.
Watch it.
Okay. To work with this special kit. 1, 2, 3, everybody eyes on me. To work with this special kit, you have to be very good listeners. Because you have these instruments, the things we're going to do, there's these little things called probes. And you dip them down into the water, and they give you a reading. And the two things we're going to do today are total dissolved solids and pH. Does anybody know what pH is? Oh. pH is whether something is acidic. Let's set that down. Acidic?
Let the water flow through.
Hey.
When you're up on that rock, you got to be still, otherwise you will slip.
Acidic?
We will go the rest of the day with that
Or
basic. Like baking soda is what you call basic. And then acid, like a battery acid, is acidic. And it's on a scale. And different kinds of creatures, sensitive and tolerant, like different kinds of pH and total dissolved solids. So what's a solid?
What's a solid, y'all? Solid.
Like a rock. Like a table, that's right, Will. Right, Judge, it's something that does not change shapes. And so in this water, the water is what? What kind of matter is the water?
Solid, liquid, or gas?
Solid liquid. It's a liquid. But suspended in this liquid are parts that are solids. There's solids inside this liquid. And so there are two probes, and I need to pick two very quiet listeners. What?
Another very quiet listener.
Let's try.
Judge?
All right, these are the guys. Okay.
Boy, let's go.
Those are the guys.
Like right here. Put your net down here. And just lift up some of those rocks under there. Let the water go. That's it.
What we're going to do is remember how Mr. Gordon said a spot in the water that was flowing. That is called a ripple. A spot in the creek over here where the water is still is a pool.
I use one?
Stand still in the spot where you are. When you are wandering around, you're falling, and you have to go to a restaurant and a church after this. So I really don't want everybody to be sopping wet. So be still. Stay in your spot. Be still. Stay in your spot.
Okay, so we're going to perform a little experiment. I have in my hand a little probe that you stick in the water very quietly and very calmly to see how many solids are in the liquid. And we're going to compare the amount of solids in the liquid from how many solids are in the water in the pool where the water is still, and how many dissolved solids are in the water that's a ripple that is flowing. And then we're going to do pH. So, judge, my man. This is, it's got a little thing here, and you read, and it's got a thing that you read, it'll give us numbers. We take this off, the judge is going to walk down here with me.
No, you have to put this caterpillar.
Notice you're in the creek. Okay, everybody staying where they are, quietly and calmly, so nobody falls. Okay, so this is the total dissolved solid thing. What you're going to do is I'm going to take the cap off, and I'm going to turn it on. Okay, now Judge is going to dip it in the water. Dip it in the water just up to here. Is it giving us a number? It is. It's giving us given us 169. But then when Hopi comes and he kicks up the solids that are on the bottom, it makes it rise to 182. Now let's see. So 162 dissolved solids in the water that is not moving. Now, Mr. Judge, let's walk over here. To the ripple. Where the water is moving. Okay. Just change a little on ya. Oh yeah, it's like bonus. You want to tell everybody what the pH is here? What is it? I'm trying to know. The pH is 9.3. So is that acidic or basic? Pretty basic. 9.3. 9.3. That's kind of a problem.
Just gonna get my little bear out of it.
Let's see what it is in the ripple. Careful, Hunter. We've been working on this creek for like 4 years. We've been a stream team member, and we have love the grant for the hot kit. It used to be a completely degraded stream with almost no life. And actually, this part of the stream contributes the most silt and pollutants into our drinking water. regulations that they just don't have any pull for administration. Like a bunch of them have been helping across the street and here and donating greenhouse space and plants and. Okay, let's see. So here we are in the ripple. We turned it on again. No, but I wasn't. Yeah, let me see. Like when you're coming down. 8.8. Even in the ripple. So even in the ripple, it's 8.8. But it's lower than when we first started testing the stream 4 years ago. And when we tested the stream, we had game and fish come out and do a Greek clinic and teach us how to do this, and teach us how to look for the invertebrates. And we could almost find none. And so we've been cleaning the creek, and upstream had been a huge illegal dumping ground. And there were potties and water heaters and carpet and blankets. And we've been cleaning that out of the creek slowly but surely. But when we were first doing this, we were getting tens and plus. And we weren't finding any sensitive things. We weren't finding any caddisfly, we weren't finding any of that. So we're looking better, believe it or not. He's a border collie and a German shepherd mix. Slightly. Not much where I went up there. I went further. I went before where we. Those are like cake. Nothing really good. Soft oxygen, which is really messy. Oh, it's like it's 0.9, 0.4. It's been sitting in the sun, and it's just like cake and bake to make that rich black soil. None of these versions are good at.
We're up here on the island. There's the little church building. Right through there. There's the roof of the church right over there. Little building we have our meetings in sometimes. We'll show you the church.
Adults down there?
Yes. Miss Missy's down there. Does that count?
Come on, guys.
Get off How?
Even better self. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been here about a year.
I gave you a card, didn't I?
I have a card, yes,
Okay,
thank you.
yeah. Well, here, give one to somebody else.
I will,
Didn't
because
get
somebody
one
else
later.
was asking
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, these, I just made a quick CD of the pictures. I didn't have time to name them, obviously, and go through all that, but
Yeah.
it'll be memories for the little guys to
Oh,
see.
yeah. They have an awful lot of them so far.
I bet. That's a wonderful thing to be able to have them in a school like that.
You know, it is.
How old are these guys?
They range, let's see, really
play from
We learned something
6
really important.
on up to 11, I believe, the age range.
11's oldest.
I think so. I think I'm right.
And which ones are teachers in the group?
Christy's the main teacher with the coat, the blue coat, and then Mr. Gordon's the science teacher.
Standing by Mr. Gordon there. Is that
the
Christy?
heavy no. That's a mother.
Uh-huh.
Christy, I don't see her now. Kind of the heavy set guy is Mr. Tony, and he's the assistant to Christy.
Oh, uh-huh.
And then Mr. Gordon, he's the longer hair.
Right.
He is the science.
Uh-huh.
And on the other side, the other way, is Christy. Her hair's kind of pulled up. She's got a kind of a light blue jacket. With
blue
the
and gray there.
Yes,
but
that's it.
You know what? This would be the best spot to plant this.
Yeah, this island they're on.
Uh-huh.
Previous owners, in order to route the creek away from the yard, they had dug out on the other side and made another channel, which they're just past where they're standing. But it's never succeeded. The water comes back to its natural channel.
Oh, it does.
They didn't have Corps of Engineers helping them. So,
That is so neat.
but this, you can tell how this bank's eroded with the, all the way to the shale under
sure
there.
Can see that, yeah. You sure can.
It's just so frustrating, Northwest Arkansas right now, because all these things are being destroyed without any concern. There's no longer probably a safe well to drink out of or a spring. There's pollution entering everywhere, and
You know, it's so sad.
vegetation's being removed, and this absorbent soil, like you saw over on that property particularly, that's being buried under the hard dirt they dig off the hillsides, the red dirt, and then nothing can grow, and you've got to bring your own topsoil if you live in a place like that.
We just came back from not long ago from Alaska. And
Oh, really?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. It was a wonderful, wonderful trip. We went up to the interior part and then came down, and then did a cruise on the very end. But to see some of the land, how massive and vast it is just unreal. Especially in Denali Park area.
I've only seen pictures.
Well, if you can ever go someday, if you can ever swing it, it's certainly worth it.
A friend of mine just retired from Exxon in Baton Rouge, and he and his wife went on a cruise, and they did a little bit off, on land,
Yeah,
and
they did the
bus tours, railroad tours.
Yeah,
and
that
stuff.
was part of it too. Yeah.
They did.
Did he enjoy?
He sent me
Did he send you something?
a couple of thousand pictures, I think.
Oh my gosh, I know. We took 500 some.
He sent me 2 CDs full. Anyway,
it was
1,500 or something.
It was just unbelievable. So vast. And that they are so proud of their country, that they're what they've got there, and preserving and taking care. That really means a lot to the Alaskans.
Well, what we're doing on Earth, unfortunately, is we make it impossible to survive the way people first were able to survive in a place. In other words, where are the Eskimos living off the caribou or the seals or whatever? We destroy that capability, and you can't take these kids and teach them to live in an ice house near the Arctic.
Yeah, imagine.
Anybody who can live in a jungle, can eat what's there, knows what's there, and they've got that culture.
Yeah.
And we come along and say, if you'll let us take 5 miles of trees off your area you live in, we'll give you a TV set and a house and a car.
Yeah, that's unfortunately with the trade-off, isn't it?
And pretty soon you have a bunch of dissatisfied people who are dependent on imported things, and they have to work at some miserable job to support themselves.
Let me see your babies. Take me to your babies. Where are they?
They're in the house. Feel her tummy and see if she feels the way I felt her yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I think she's already started a new litter.
Honey, you don't need to have any more babies. You're awful young.
Well, Jennifer had the notion that she was not coming in heat, so she was 2 years old, and so she said, well, I hadn't taken her to the vet because
what happened with Hannah?
She never got
to that point. She had the babies. They're breastfeeding. She may not come into full heat, but got anyway. Those men track her down.
Oh, these tomcats are.
Yeah, these tomcats are terrible. just got to tell them to leave you alone.
And they don't support the kids much. They don't come back and support the kids
No,
much.
they don't. No, they don't. No, you don't, do you, sweetie?
I have to do it all myself.
Yeah.
This was Ellie's cat, Jennifer's daughter that died. But a year and a half ago, her daughter died.
Who had a daughter that died?
Jennifer, that's been
Oh,
talking, lives
did?
here, yeah. And she was about
Oh,
5, and
Oh, she was- oh,
5.5
dear.
years old. And
How tragic.
this was her kitten. And,
Oh, it was?
So
Oh.
when she comes to see me, it's like
Yeah.
it's Elia coming to talk to me,
Yeah.
sending me a
Yeah.
message. It's
Well,
because
what happened to her?
they thought it might be a spider bite or something. She had like shock syndrome,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, my God.
And
That's
it
very
just happened
bizarre.
all in a few hours. They had no idea it was an emergency. Till
Oh, dear.
suddenly she was so bad.
Oh, my God. The one that has this baby now.
Hmm.
The one that has this baby. Or the other girl.
The girl walking down
Oh,
there
gotcha.
that's been
Okay.
talking, yeah,
Okay.
lives
Does
here.
she have any other children?
Yeah, she's got a little boy that's 4 now or
Okay.
something, and a girl who's 14 or
Oh,
13, something like that.
That's tragic.
But yeah, that was her husband walking around with the backpack with a while ago.
Yeah.
He's got Melissa Terry's baby on
That's
his
right.
back
Okay,
now.
yeah. So that was cute. What is it, sweetheart? I want to see your baby.
And he did the stone work. He's a stonemason.
Oh, really?
Like the big stone over across the street that's standing. He did that whole circle for the butterfly garden
That's
himself
amazing.
alone.
Nice.
You can see his muscles if you've been there.
That's
He does
amazing.
that stuff all the time. It's wonderful.
That's amazing.
But their daughter was a sweet child. The last time I had a conversation with her, I rescued a box turtle, and she took it to the creek and put it in, and then she gave me a lecture on box turtles.
Ethan, let's stop right up here.
Oh, Hunter. I gotta get your thing.
Everybody catch up with us. Stay this way, please, Lauren. Hunter, stay behind me, please. Thank you. I'm the stopper right here.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. Phenomenal.
You know what likes a
Hunter, thank you.
Do you know what likes a banana that gets overripe? You know what likes a banana that gets overripe?
What?
Besides me,
What?
dogs,
For a second, I thought it was a flying.
rabbits, just about everything.
That's wonderful. I didn't know that.
Rabbit will eat that whole thing, skin and all. Labrador Retriever will
Come
too.
this way, please. Hunter, come this way, please. Thank you.
It's a banana.
See, to them that banana's too old. To me, that's how I keep them till they get that way before I'll eat them.
All right. You ready? Watershed. Watershed. All right, it flows right down the slope and to the creek. Stacia, watershed,
Are
please.
you're one of the teachers?
I am. That's
Right on,
I did- this is photos we made across the street and some over here. I just ran upstairs and made a at my house across the street. Yeah. Well, I was afraid you guys would leave before I came back.
Copy of the pictures.
Well, I think that's all we made till the last few minutes till I came back. But what's your name?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Christy.
Christy? Aubrey Shepherd.
Nice
Christy.
to meet you, Aubrey.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks very much. That's awesome. Because I forgot my camera.
Here's a card.
Okay,
We have a
thanks.
website with a lot more stuff about this area on it.
Right.
Yeah, you can plug those in. And
Well, look
I
at
gave
them
her
when
some
we get back to
pictures
school.
already. What we just made.
That's awesome. I was going to ask him if he could email me some, but then look. He hooked me right up before I did.
I was afraid you were going to send them home, Jennifer, and not hold them long enough for me to get there.
We'll stay a while.
What's your whole name? Christy
Hello, Christy Wilson.
Wilson. Nice
Yes.
to meet you.
You too. I'm the elementary teacher at Walnut Farm, Montessori School.
Well, that's wonderful. So you have a whole day of activities
We
today?
have got a big day today. Yes,
What
we're
all do you
going to Jose's to eat lunch,
Uh-huh.
and then we're going to. You can't take the cat with you.
Steak.
Oh wow!
Oh, but it's steak.
Wow! I bet the cat caught it. She's like, let me back. That's
Surprised you.
Jose's
Jose's for
for
lunch?
lunch. And then we're going to St. Paul's to walk the labyrinth in their parish hall.
Oh,
And then we're
okay.
going to Hank Kaminsky's
Is it a real one?
Oh, that's just over here, yeah.
Yeah, he came to our school and
It's
did a
a real
workshop with, oh, baby.
Oh, and there was a picture in our paper. I work at the Morning News as a copy editor, so.
It's a real one. Well, that's a real one.
So we're going to his studio to visit, and then if we have time, we'll go to the Washington Regional. They have a labyrinth in there. I want to build a labyrinth in my outdoor classroom in my backyard, so I'm trying to get the kids pumped for a labyrinth. You know, walk in.
Well, they'll love that.
Yeah.
Well, this is terrific. I'm so glad y'all came down.
Me too. It's a really good experience for the kids. Chloe, baby, you cannot take that cat with you. She lives here.
I know.
Okay.
He likes going over there though.
She loves to be carried.
Christy, if you'd like me to teach a class on trash scaping in your own personal yard.
Jennifer, give me courage.
871. Okay, I want to give you these. Okay? And then we're just going to trash bag. Thank you. Thank you.
We have a lot of traffic problems here some days. When the dump trucks are hauling back and forth to that construction site, that's the worst. We've had them like a parade here the last year.
Well, it's sure nice to meet you.
You too. See you later.
There you go.
Mason.
What's your first name, Mr. Gordon?
Pardon?
What's your first name?
My name is Gordon Bradford.
Oh, it's Gordon Bradford.
Yes.
Oh, I see. It's on your.
Yes.
Let me get that so I got it. Gordon Bradford.
Yes, Walnut Farm Montessori School.
They just call you Mr. Gordon.
That's
What?
it.
What are these little? There's tons of birds here right now that've been here for a few weeks, and you'll see a lot of them moving. They're little yellow-breasted. They look like a robin in a way, but they don't go to the ground like robins. They feed on those hackberries and things like that up high mostly.
I think they're cedar waxwings. What they look
Are
like
they all
from
cedar
here.
waxwings?
The way they're flying, I think they're cedar waxwings.
I think you're right. Okay.
I think they are.
That's good to confirm that with somebody that knows. I'm terrible with names of things. I got interested in the outdoors from hunting and fishing, and my dad knew all about everything out there, but I didn't pay attention.
Right,
I
right.
just only wanted to shoot a duck, you know, or shoot a quail
Yes.
when I was growing up. But
And I can give you some, like, I got a big, like, $500 seed.
and now I can't remember what I used to know.
And they sprouted.
That's awesome. In that box is tons of more books and watershed
handouts.
activities and handouts.
Okay.
And these
Yes.
are adult handouts.
Okay,
And these are
gotcha.
some, I know y'all are trying to leave here as I'm talking. These are pretty awesome. And if you wanted to hand them out, I don't know if you want to hand them out to the parents, but they're White
Okay,
River
good,
Corridor,
good,
big,
wonderful.
beautifully done
Yes.
with a grant from Audubon.
Gotcha.
Watershed maps.
Yes.
Nice. That Melissa worked really hard on.
Am I going to see you tonight at dance?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right, great to meet you.
Thank you. What a wonderful sharing.
I'm glad you got to meet Mr. Gordon.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Gordon got to meet you.
Yes.
There we go.
Love you.
Okay.
This class is awesome. It was great. Love this. Yeah. Get after it. I love that you give them so many
Things to do. Things to do. That's the way you are. I'm called her today.
Okay. Here around it, stand up, and then removing all this other stuff.
Well, that's a good idea. Actually, that could actually substitute for the other construction if you wanted to that way.
Well, I know, but there's, he's
Separate
got
seating thing.
his mind.
Well, what he
wants-
has in his mind is better than what we have.
Yeah, what he's got in his mind.
He's got the muscles to do it. We don't have the abilities.
Yeah, we do not have the abilities to do the rock work.
The artist who does the work.
I'm thinking about
need to find some way to wrangle a picnic table. I wish that I had had time to make a wish list for those people that just
posted.
came. I may email one to Christy. By the way, we have a wish list.
Anybody?
It is.
And there's some of those folks, some of those parents and so forth. If you just tell them, if anybody's got an old one or something, we'd be happy to have it, and some of them might buy a new one.
Oh, exactly. That's exactly. Oh, any used picnic
They're
table.
so kind to do that.
Yeah. Well, and old to them is relative.
Down low, and on the north side of the house, and the west side here, we've got numerous robins. Just on the south side of the house, high in the trees there, looking out the bathroom window, you see a bunch of cedar waxwings. It's just a normal day with snow predicted. It's been raining since sometime in the evening last night, and the yard, of course, is somewhat flooded, and birds are so busy feeding. These guys are actually playing in the water right back here. Robins are spectacular. November 30th, 2006. Not surprising to be cold on this date. Just happens to be a storm day coming in. See, the berries are almost gone off this kind of honeysuckle. It's a major target around this neighborhood. Yesterday there were lots of berries, and the snow hasn't even hit. They're just getting ready for it. So the red that we saw in recent days. Pretty exciting day for people and other living things. Here's the town branch of the West Fork of the White River. View from 11th Street south. You can see it's really rolling. It's a long way from overflowing, but it's possible if the rain keeps up. It changes to snow, won't be running in the creek so fast, and then chances of any overflow here quickly diminish. You can see that muddy water's coming downhill all the way from up at South Duncan Avenue, and could see the storm drain opening from up that way off the Aspen Ridge property is sort of backing up because there's a good flow in the stream, so you can see the really muddy water inside that drain being held back, delayed a little bit as it comes into the town drain field. So that's far below flood stage, we'd call it here. Flood stage means it's running over this bridge and over the sidewalk up this way, and where I'm standing I would be knee deep in water in some instances here. So the robins are very active. The robins and in cleaning these berries off the what we call China honeysuckle bushes here, and also the climbing Japanese honeysuckle bushes. So we've got a lot of red berries being eaten today, and you can see a robin in the background. He's working on that process right now as we speak. And right here in the foreground, you see the berries have been mostly removed from these stems right here. Situation's aggravated, of course, by the removal of vegetation upstream, Aspen Ridge project. So see a lot of standing water in the wetland portion, near the riparian zone of Mr. Hoodenpile's yard. Also see the robins taking advantage of what's out there. Combination of earthworms and such, and the berries on the trees, on the China honeysuckle plant, the main one we have in this area. So as you go up this way, you see lots of robins, and they're everywhere, but a lot easier to see out here on the ground. It's just a more normal thing for them. In the wintertime, they go to berries, and actually in some places right now they'll be competing for the berries with the cedar waxwings that are very plentiful in big groves, and sort of come and go. They disappear. That land up there, the ground's a little higher across the creek, the bare ground, that's spill dirt. That used to be a heavily wooded area, and it was as low as this or lower in part, and it was where the creek overflowed, and it meant that when the creek gets a little higher than it is now, that would be all underwater, as this will be, and it would not speed up the flow downstream. It would actually help to allow the stream to slow down a little bit and limit the danger downstream somewhat. It's supposed to start snowing this afternoon, so we hope that we don't see the flood here. Smith Yard's radically changed. The street work required, they say, removing the vegetation along that side just to put a curb and gutter in. Didn't make sense, but there it is. The yard's exposed to the wind and the dust and so forth, and obviously the noise. See the stream winding around behind the Smiths and behind the Richardson Creel house. Little ditch work now is causing water to stay on this side, built up the driveway a little bit, and it means a little standing water on this side. But when it comes up higher, it'll just flow on, higher flow going across the street. And of course they've got a big area here that's holding water. The reason this water's not going into the storm drain here, of course, is the street hasn't been fully leveled up. The final overlay occurs later, and when it does, then the street will be up as high as that. This water would be flowing into the storm drain. At the moment, it's no great advantage either way. It's not helping to clean the water. it's running down the street or running down the storm drain that's under the sidewalk. Either way, it's muddy water leaving the Aspen Ridge project and heading into the town branch of the West Fork of the White River. You can see here the yellow things mark the handicapped access ramp that won't be again level until the street's overlaid, and it allows a smooth access for a wheelchair there. Look at this a minute. This, of course, is supposed to be a street brought up to grade, and until that occurs, this remains a lake, and that lake's now overflowing where they've dug out for this street construction. And it's just pouring mud directly into the town branch of the West Fork of the White River without any real detention effect and no vegetation to hold it back. And of course, this has been unvegetated for maybe 6 months, 7 months now with no work being done, and before that even more. So the quality of water in the storm drain is not so good, and notice water coming in beside the storm drain, and which indicates this has not been sealed or prepared. So there's water coming in over the top, so debris is going to wash in unless they actually get down there and seal around that pipe. It's not going to stop happening. Not going to stop anytime soon. And just because they put a cover over it won't mean that inflow right there won't be coming from someplace. Maybe the paving above will stop it, but groundwater can get in there. Which isn't all bad, but sometimes it can be very bad. It's all about the quality of the water you're letting go into your stream and thus into the West Fork and the White River, and ultimately Beaver Lake itself. Well, I got too close and frightened most of the robins, but there's still some on the ground. So we walked by and knew until see us. Just covered. Notice the difference in the clear water. The vegetated area of World Peace Wetland Prairie. And you get a little burst of robin action. We're going to see a few more as we go toward the back. Notice how the red berries are mostly gone. Mostly gone. Create store. been able to get out here sooner, I would have seen that flock of cedar waxwings that were over outside my bathroom window, but right now I can't see them. I don't know where they are, but they're probably in somebody else's yard looking for all the nice berries. In their case, they're especially interested in those. The hackberries, which are up on taller trees. Something rare to get footage of the water flowing through the woods here. And the sad thing is, it's dirty water right now. And it's dirty because it's coming all the way from the Aspen Ridge project and flowing through World Peace Wetland Prairie. So there's no pollution of this sort. No bare ground. This dirt, this color on World Peace Wetland Prairie. This is all coming from upstream, off the property. It's a natural flow zone, but all the way up there, you got birds, doves, robins, and so forth. You can see the wetland characteristics here that are not always visible, because when it dries up, you get down to a very small flow, and then finally it all soaks in. Right now it really is leaving here, going to Soup Branch on the way to the town branch of the West Fork of the White River. See where we planted a couple of young button bushes, and they're in the standing water there. They were planted on dry ground a few days ago, a week ago or so. See a lot of the birds sitting up in the trees now, waiting for me to get out of their feeding area. They're not happy about somebody standing around out here. It is truly a refuge for whatever critters can be here at a given time. When there are lots of people, the birds step back, or shall we say fly back in their case. Other things, I think there may be some waxwings around, but getting a picture of those guys, they're always flitting and moving so fast. That's a habitat tree back of our property. It's a giant hackberry, and they've been taking the berries off for a good while now. So it's probably going to be without any berries before long. Hard for me to tell what's what. The birds at the distance. Hard to talk in this cold, isn't it? Snow is expected soon. In fact, that may sound like sleep right now. Freezing rain. In the years we've lived here, this has never been totally cleared, except the closest thing was when it was brush hogged, but it's never been denuded this way. This is being done to replant more native things and eliminate the Japanese honeysuckle, which climbs all over things. And that process will be continuing for a long time. All this brush has been taken down, been nesting and roosting sites and feeding sites, so those berries weren't available. Let's keep walking up to the north end, following the newly widened path through here, and get a look at trees that have had honeysuckle removed in some cases, and get a look at how the water stands here and gets cleaned. Very few places. Now that's a hole that, there's a little tunnel goes back that way under there. It opens up not far away, and then it apparently comes from even further. Right now that's got to be what you call freezing rain, and it's freezing me. But it's likely to be changing to snow. This central flow area, you can see, is carrying muddy water, something historically we'd never seen in the trailer park days because it was all highly well vegetated. But let's go on up to the right here, headed northeast, chase some more birds out. They're not going far, they know where the berries are. And there are a lot fewer berries today than there were yesterday, a few days ago, because they just don't eat those berries until they really need them. But now they're, shall we say, peeking out. There you can see where Lauren has worked clearing the Japanese honeysuckle back there. So this trail's become more visibly wetland because it doesn't have the cover. Walk on around here quickly and see the muddy water coming from Aspen Ridge. It's coming from a right, flowing to the left. The water in the path is pretty visible. But the actual flow is to your left, and it's coming off the muddy part of it's coming off the construction site to the north. Take a look at some of that. Make our way up to the edge. Source of the muddy waters right down that way. You can see it's all muddy. This little flow to the right leads to the Aspen Ridge storm. The old shade corner, place where kids for generations in the trailer park came over and played in the shade. It's pretty covered up with sunlight on a day. Here's a mockingbird out here with these guys. Hard not to shake when it's this cold. And this sinkhole is full of water. You see that all the time. These berries are still on that bush. That's good, because they'll be wanting some tomorrow. See what Aspen Ridge looks like right now. Mud, mud, mud. Get all the birds getting up over there next to our yard. The red berries are disappearing so fast today. It's that day when the red berries go. Now this water's not flowing off in here, it's going to stand, but water right out there will flow around there. Is what's flowing down to the street. That street outlet's down there, that's 11th Street. And there's Mr. Hootenpile. And this storm drain's collecting water, and it's going down to flow into the storm drain that enters the town branch that we just looked at a few minutes ago. Let's take a look at where this is coming from. Some of it at least is going to our left down through the World Peace Wetland Prairie. Now you can see that the silt fence is overwhelmed by the stones and piles of dirt, and you can see the water actually flowing to the left, to the south, and entering the World Peace Wetland Prairie, putting a lot of silt in there that we never got before. All this water off Aspen Ridge is supposed to be going that way and into that lake over there, but here it's flowing through the silt fence on the World Peace Wetland Prairie. Pretty nasty deal, isn't it? It goes over it, under it, however it chooses. Water just goes where gravity takes it. A bit of the view north, and then east, and you're southeast on the trail. So those birds are back on the ground around here. Hope we'll leave them alone. It's worm catching time. You get the idea from the west what it looks like from World Peace Wetland Prairie across the flow area all the way to the Creole Richardson house over there, and the World Peace Wetland Prairie Monument. Quite a muddy flow from up there where we just came from the north to Aspen Ridge property, where all that muddy water is flowing in. Coming in from several spots under that silt fence. Okay. Okay. You can hear the rain hitting the plastic that's suppressing honeysuckle vines and fescue grass. It's gonna get worse here before it gets better today. And they say it's gonna turn into snow. And the temperature is right at the freezing mark, so it shouldn't be long. It's the 1st of December, and it's appropriately a little snow cover. It's not nearly the snow we expected, because Tulsa and places to the west of us, southwest and north, got a lot of snow. But this is certainly a pleasant sort of little bit of snow here. The red berries have been cleaned off. The robins did a lot of that cleaning, of course the cardinals too, but the cedar waxwings are not around today. They've cleaned the tops of the hackberry trees, such as the big one here, the big split tree, doubletree. And they're not around today, but these robins are still around, a few cardinals scattered around. So they're busy on the ground. Really soggy soil like this after 24 hours of rain and then several hours of snow, sleet and snow on top of it. It's left a paradise for birds that like to hunt earthworms and such. It's just outside our corner, southwest corner of our property, which is marked by that big tree. So it's one of the, to us, one of the delightful parts of World Peace Wetland Prairie. It's all beautiful. It's newly opened up here, so the good part of that is we can get a picture of the birds out here on the ground in the open easier than maybe before it was opened up. But we also were, in past times I've been able to get pictures of birds on top of the vines and understory vegetation. In someone else's lifetime there'll be superior understory vegetation, we hope, and the birds will still like it. Of course, they'll also like a little corn, some of them, if we spread it over there. Of course, we've got standing water, but we've also got a little flow left. The nice thing